All right, so these are the templates. Again, you're cutting one of the circle and two of this long, kind of a strange looking shape. It's really important that you get these cut perfectly. I've seen some people that have kind of ragged, jagged edges. You're gonna wanna make sure that it's as perfect as possible. That will get you a good finished piece, okay? So trace and cut slowly. Don't be in a crazy hurry, okay? Once that's traced, you'll notice that I've got this piece. It's all cut out on the edge, and I've traced. Of course, it's a little hard to see, but you can see a little bit if I tilt it. You can see I've traced those little openings. And those little openings are the things that as you spin it, you're actually going to be able to peek through. So coming over to here, let me put a piece of paper behind so you can really see it a little bit better. Coming over to here, you can see I've got one that I've already cut open. You can see that I didn't cut the edge. So if that's at all possible, please do that with an X-Acto blade, which you check out with me, or you grab scissors and work carefully. Like in this case, I folded it down. I look at this, I'm like, okay, about halfway is right here, and I folded it very carefully so it's even. I then, sorry about the camera work, sorry about the bell too. I then go on one side of that opening. I wish I had a better light. You're gonna come over here, and then on its opposite side, and let me show you what that looks like right now. You can see that it made a slit in there. You can see that if I kind of turn that a little bit. Okay, so that I can then come in and just cut away. I'm gonna reach in there. I'm just gonna clip that away. And what I've given myself is one of those openings. If they are jagged, you're gonna wanna trim them up. You want them to be even, you want them to look good, because otherwise you're gonna run into problems with your piece not fitting together, okay? So after those are all cut, we're gonna pretend that that's done. On this lower edge that has this little bump out, you'll see that this one kind of bumps down and then comes back. That's going to be a fold line. And we're going to fold across this way. Very slowly. I want you to fold. You can fold it up. I'll show it to you on profile. Again, I do it slowly to kind of walk my fingers across. And I'll show you on profile kind of what that looks like. Hopefully you can see that in a minute. It's a little, you can kind of see it there, okay? And that's actually how we're going to attach it onto the base of this Zoetrope. But before we can do that, this will not conform to any curves. And that's going to be a problem. We do need it to have some conformation to the curve of this bottom piece. So along that little flap that you just made, just make little snips. I'm snipping right up to the crease, maybe every ½ inch or so. Does not even have to be perfect. If you've got 1/2 of an inch away, 1/4 of an inch away, it's no problem. So that one, once it's folded, it actually overlaps itself a little better to get you a better curve around it, okay? So the next step is to do the same with the opposite piece. And you're gonna grab that next piece. You wanna make sure that you fold up in the same way. So my tab is over here on the left, and I'm gonna start folding it up. Fold it up, all the way across. Do the same thing. You're gonna fold it up, and then you're gonna go ahead and begin making those little tiny snips in that fold so that it goes to the curve again, much, much better. If someone has their pictures available, could you bring them over to me really quick while I'm doing this? If they're all cut, that is. Anyone have them cut yet? Okay. So at this stage, what we would do is we would glue this in, okay? This is gonna get glued in. You can use a glue stick, or I'm gonna have a couple of glue guns, and I just use a little bit of hot glue. I go ahead and match that up to the overlap, and I put those two pieces together. It's really important that that get matched up so that it's a perfect edge. And when it sits on the table, it's not sitting crooked. It's got to be flat, or this Zoetrope is never going to go together, okay? Now it's time for layout. You're going to take some time right now and grab those photographs and make sure they all fit. No photograph can go over the edge of the flap. That flap has got to fit over the other edge, so it's really important that nothing goes on top of that. So what I want you to do is I want you to grab them in order. And I'm going to probably put these in a completely wrong order. I apologize. You're gonna put them in here and you wanna make sure they all fit and they're evenly spaced. Some are, for me, are upside down. I apologize if that's the case. Just please understand I'm doing this just purely to make sure all of mine fit. A couple of you that photographed horizontally, you may actually have to leave out one of the end pieces. So I get here and I only have 11. So I'm gonna put these closer together. Do not glue. Notice I have not touched the glue to put these on. Of course, these are not matching, so don't even look at the pictures. They're not gonna make any sense. I'm gonna put them closer together. Okay, I can get that last one in. And that means I can put just the tiniest bit of space between them. So probably just a little tiny hair's breadth of space between them, just like that. So I'm gonna walk all the way down. As soon as they're evenly spaced, I can actually take and I can start gluing them down. My suggestion is to glue very lightly, because if anything needs to get adjusted later, you want to be able to pull that picture off and add a new one or fix it in some other way, shape, or form. So don't go crazy with the glue. That would be a great layout. You can see that it's got just literally not even a quarter of an inch in between each of the pictures on this one. Okay, so once that's done, we're going to pretend I've glued that. I'm going to dump them off. You will not do that. You're going to glue them. It's then time for you to come in and add your base on. To get started, I actually like to start on the side with the tab. And I'll start with just a little bit of glue. This one, I really recommend the hot glue, because if you use the glue stick, it takes a long time for it to stick, so you end up getting more frustrated. Now I'm going to glue just that first segment on. I put a little glue on the tab, and then I put the beginning part of that circle on. Hopefully you can see that it's not flapping around. I'm then going to add a little bit, and I'll work on it upside down. I'll add a little bit of glue. And actually, you may even want to try it after that. Make sure it's going to fit. Roll that around, and then you'll see, oh, my circle's too big. I need to trim it down some. Or my circle's too small. I need to retrace a new one. Maybe you weren't as exact with your cutting. So in this case, looks like it's going to fit pretty well. So it's going to fit pretty well. I can go ahead and get myself going. All right, sorry about all the nutty camera work. A little bit of glue. Don't go nuts, because you want to be able to pull it off if it doesn't sit properly. I'm going to start rolling this piece around. I'm going to pinch it on. Again, it's hot glue. Keyword is hot glue. It's going to be very hot so that you guys don't burn yourself. So please be aware of that. Put a little bit more. Going to walk that around. Don't put it all on there. Just do a little 1 or 1.5 inch section. You will regret putting too much on there. So don't do it. You don't want to regret that. Again, you can see it's starting to take form. A little bit more. That glue dries quickly. That's why we chose to use this one. If it sticks wrong, just gently pull it up and try to repair it. Just kind of work with it gently. You're going to work your way. I know the camera work is terrible. I apologize. You're going to work your way all the way around, and then you're going to glue this flap down. You may want to wait and make sure that your pictures are not blocked before gluing it. If they are blocked, pull them off, readjust it a little bit, and then that piece is done, and then we're going to go on to the next step. Next step is going to be involving you putting a hole in the middle, so you might want to start with that. Otherwise, you take a pen or pencil and you puncture it, and then that pen or pencil is what you're going to stick in there, and we're going to add some glue around it so that becomes the spindle for the Zoetrope. So all of you do need to have a pen or pencil, preferably an old used one or a chopstick, something that's sort of like a dowel-like thing that you can recycle. Really, I would love to see a recycled material. If you've got a pen that ran out of ink, etc., or a really bad pencil, I would like to see those used. And don't forget, every single person in here has to have their own Zoetrope. So even if you shared pictures and you took pictures with someone else, print out 2 copies. You need your own and your buddy needs their own, okay? So that's pretty much what we're looking for right now. That will get finished. You should be able to spin it, look through the openings that you've created, and see your moving picture.